Hi, this is Sunil Ramlall. This video encompasses an overview of employee training and development. In the video, we cover the role of employee training in organizations, some of the strategies utilized in doing the needs assessment, technologies used in employee training development, and then evaluation strategies that we can integrate in our training interventions. So what exactly is employee training development? Employee training development is the process of developing and/or unleashing human expertise for the purpose of improving performance at the individual, organizational, and process levels. So as we said, we'll discuss the strategic importance of training and developing a competitive workforce, because in the end, after all modes of competition have been eroded, employees are the core source of competitive advantage. So in creating learning organizations, we have to invest in training development to ensure that we are learning new skills, new competencies, and able to align those to the strategic intent of the organization. We also explain how training development activities are shaped by other aspects of the HR system. Learning is recognized generally as a source of competitive advantage, as a commonly accepted fact, basically, that the more we can invest, the optimal point that we will create competitive advantages. We know it's an intentional effort to improve current and future performance. Again, I said earlier, by helping employees acquire the skills, knowledge, and attitudes required of our competitive workforce. So as we develop our strategies and enroll as a manager, we have to fully understand that training is a core role of managers and leaders in organizations. It's just not the role of the HR generalist or training development specialist or leader. Training, we're improving employee competencies needed very soon. These are shorter term, when we talk about training and differentiating through with development. Training is more an immediate need, it's short term, it's within the near future. Typical objective is to improve employee performance in a specific job. So in a manufacturing setting, for example, maybe it's to operate a machine. If you are in a call center, maybe it's to manage a call more effectively in a timely basis. You're in the airline industry, it's about safety. You need to go out there and ensure maximum safety. And on the other hand, development, it's about improving employee competencies over a longer period of time. So pursuing your graduate degrees, your undergraduate even, and it could be a strategy within the organization. Commonly, within organizations today, we have various universities within our organizations. But on a real setting, it's about long-term investment and development. So you have leadership development interventions within organizations. Some places offer like a mini MBA program within organizations and various academic institutions also. We'll highlight the term socialization. That's where we're talking about learning how tasks are done in the organizations, learning the culture, learning the people, and how generally employees get work done. Objective is, in this situation, is to teach new employees about the organization's history, culture, and management practices. All right, so let's break this down into looking at the overall HR role, responsibility, strategies, use that term. We have the external environment. We understand, look at today, unemployment rate, it's less than 5%. In some states, it's less than 4%. Some industries, that's quite lower than that. Also in specific job categories, it's lower than that. So what are we doing to ensure that our employees who are within organizations today are staying and that they have the competencies needed? We look at determining training and development needs. We look at this from four components. 4 angles. One, organization needs analysis. Second, job needs analysis, person analysis, and then the demographic needs analysis. Organization, here's where we're looking at the gap analysis per se. Where are we at now? What's our strategy? Where do we want to go? So, for example, you are Delta Airlines. You're looking to increase your workforce by 10%, given the number of flights you want to increase of, or a Target or Walmart. You have projected growth. And then you say, okay, this is type of skill sets that we need in order to be competitive in the retail industry, to compete against, if you're Target, against Walmart or someone like that. Then the job needs analysis, where what are we doing today in that particular job function? And is that necessary? Are we spending our time where the deliverables of those activities will create the value needed to bring in the revenue or retain the customers? And look at this from a balanced scorecard perspective, or improve customer satisfaction or process. Then the person, who's that incumbent, and what does she or he have the skill set necessary to function? For example, you have all different generations working in the organizations, not necessarily picking any generation, but that incumbent, does she or he have the technical competencies in which to use a new system, for example, that you're launching, and or the technology needed to recruit? Are we comfortable with the social media as a means of reaching out to our network? So we do all of this to determine what really we need to be doing. From that, we will then move at program contents. What do we need to be teaching, if anything at all, which is highly unlikely. We always have to be investing in training development. What format are we going to be using, and how will we maximize learning? So based on that now, we have the short-term effects that we will create. The reaction, this comes from the Kirkpatrick 4-level model of evaluations. We have reaction, learning, behavior, and results. And then, of course, from a long-term perspective, what value will the organization have given the investment in the training intervention? How will employees perform better? How will the changes in employees' behavior, attitude, and ultimately performance be impacted given the investment in the training? So that, in a nutshell, is the process that we would use for training development in organizations. Right. So we asked then, what is the role of the line manager? What is the role of the HR professional? And then what is the role of the employee in ensuring that training and development interventions are there and they're completely aligned to developing the skill set needed to achieve the organizational outcomes? Yep. This is critical because this is a shared responsibility, and one that everyone in the organization has to be able to champion in order to make this work, to create the highest value. First of all, we look at the line managers. We're expecting that the line managers be able to continuously evaluate their employees' skill set and performance, and be able to have that ongoing discussion with their HR business partner on what can be done. So be able to provide that feedback to their HR business partner. Work with employees to determine the individual training and development needs. Employees typically know what they're lacking in and where they want to go in the organization from a career development perspective. So have that ongoing discussion, not only at performance evaluation, but in the planning and the continuous performance management process. Line managers have a responsibility also of supporting employees' participation in training development opportunities and reinforce their transfer of newly learned behaviors to the job. So be able uh, allow employees to go to the training, but then provide opportunities where that employee can integrate what they would have been studying if it's trainer development and integrate that into their job. So again, it's that whole learning and performance relationship that we can facilitate as the manager and allow the employee to practice what they're doing. Do much of the on-the-job socialization and training, and then participate in efforts to assess the effectiveness of training development activities. So are we seeing a change in attitude? Are we seeing a change in behavior? And ultimately, is that employees' performance improving in some part due to the training that he or she is receiving? And of course, there are different ways in which we will assess the training. And we talked about the chiropractic again, reaction, learning, behavior, and results. So we would target those 4 areas as far as understanding the improvements or change in performance. Now, critically, what's the role of our HR colleagues in the entire training development process? One, and critically, identify training development needs in cooperation with line managers. Second, assist employees in developing their individual training and development needs. Third, communicate with employees regarding opportunities that may exist within the organization, at professional associations, at local universities. It could be online also. Fourth, develop and administer training development activities. Again, this would be tied to the overall strategy of the organization. Train line managers and employees on how to socialize, train, develop employees, evaluate the effectiveness of training and development activities. Now, who owns training and development? He said it's a shared, but in the end, the employee has to take responsibility for his or her learning initiatives. And as an employee, we have to seek to understand the objectives of whatever training opportunities exist and how well they match with what we are trying to do as an employee. We have to identify our own training development needs and be able to communicate that with our HR, business partners, and other leaders within the organization. Where are we heading from a career perspective? So that's where we consider employment opportunities that will contribute to our personal development. It could be not necessarily promotion, but it could be a lateral move that would help to broaden our scope of understanding of the organization's strategies and developing the competencies to get to that next level within the organization. We hope that all employees are actively participating in training development opportunities and showing the desire and motivation to learn. I always say that the skill set that we have today become obsolete quite quickly if we do not continue to learn. And again, it's the same when we look from an organization perspective. The overall skill set that we have will become obsolete if we do not continue to learn. So we have to go about determining training and development needs. We do the organizational needs analysis, and that is where we're doing assessment of the short and long-term strategy and strategic business objectives of the organization. We create the goals of the training development activities, and again, it has to be aligned to the overall strategic business objectives of the organization. Do we have the climate that supports training initiatives? And what are the resources and constraints on training development activities? So understanding that, do we have the in-house resource, the talent needed, or do we hire external skills needed to do the training? Mentioned this earlier, just want to put it in a picture format, a visual, so that we can see the all combine, the overlap to some extent when we do the needs assessment. For us as managers, we have to ensure that the climate for training is there. And what does that mean? That there are incentives that encourage employees to participate in a training. We also have to ensure managers make it easy for employees to attend the training sessions that may be offered. Furthermore, employees who encourage each other, it's always a good thing that there's a support structure. And are there rewards for employees to learn new competencies, the ability to grow within the organization? It doesn't have to be necessarily a financial reward, but the opportunity to even try a new task or a new method of doing your work based on their training. And the job analysis, the person analysis, all of those are integral to ensure that we have the right training development interventions. So we have to go about designing training and development activities now. Creating right conditions would include the need to learn, the motivation, the amount of energy we will exert, that is, to go about learning. Do we see a value in the new skills and knowledge? Is it relevant? Are there reward practices for what we are learning? Again, so the whole idea about relevance. And when we go to a training or development intervention, are we held accountable for that? So we bring back, we share our understanding. What did we learn? How can we apply it? And hold employees accountable to ensure that they are integrating what they are learning in those investments. So who participates? Again, that would be based on your organization, on your team, and uh, we have to decide on who will, because not all training would be applicable for everyone to attend. Now, let's look at the learning objectives of training. And we can look at it from multiple angles. One is the effective outcome. For example, emotional intelligence or attitude. So that's one targeted outcome that we could seek. Second, a cognitive. So the whole intelligence, learning new knowledge, company practices, strategies, how to do something. Uh, Third, ethical behavior, where we talk about corporate social responsibility, values, all of those. And then skills, quite frequently the target for training, especially skills. Technical skills could be interpersonal, could be just how to do something. So again, we are looking at multiple objectives from all of these interventions. So developing employee skills, we're looking again at technical motor skills, communication skills, and personal language. And then influencing our effective responses, as the objectives change your motivation, impact positively so, of course, the motivation to positively influence the attitudes, build a value system. And some examples I can think of listed here: build a team spirit, enhance self-confidence, build that emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? That is the self-awareness. How well do we know ourselves? Self-management, do we manage ourselves well? Social awareness, what's the environment in the social environment, and be able to manage the relationship from a professional perspective. Long gone are the days where we have to only do classroom training. Of course, e-learning is huge. On-demand training also. So we have the technology available where we can do immediate training, or we can use teleconferencing, multimedia, computer-based training, whatever it might be. There are tools available: Blackboard, Skype, the FaceTime, whatever it might be. Our organizations have that we can integrate in delivering training globally to everyone at any moment. So again, long gone are the days we have to travel internationally across the country, wherever, to deliver that training. So increasing learning during training, we participate, we bring in our own perspectives, we share our team's perspective, but maintaining performance after training, we have to develop learning points to assess retention, set the specific goals, identify reinforcers that we can integrate to ensure that we are using the skill sets that we have learned over time. Train significant others to reinforce behaviors, be colleagues, it could be managers, all of these to ensure that we are staying abreast with the learning and we are being held accountable. So we now have gone through uh, basic aspects of employee training development. To recap, we are hoping that the interventions that we use in training development are fully aligned based on assessment of the organization's strategies. So how do we align employee training development, the competencies that we want to derive for employee training interventions, and align those to help to achieve the organizational outcomes and the strategic intent? What are we trying to do as an organization? In the end, we're making that investment in our employees for the sake of improving their performance, because through higher individual performance, we will see a great contribution in creating value and ultimately return on assets or increased revenue, customer satisfaction, and all of those deliverables that we seek from our organization strategies. So again, we have gone through and looked at an overview of training development, or factors that we would use for analyzing the organization, the person, the job, and then how do we deliver that training. And remember the four components of evaluating reaction, learning, behavior, and then results. Always be able to include that component in the training interventions. So thanks for listening, and see you soon.